Let's get one thing straight today before we share some words. Let's clear the air. Jesus wasn't talking about figs. He wasn't trying to sell fertilizer. And I don't think Jesus had a garden. He was a carpenter. And this little story about the orchard and the fig tree, Jesus was talking to you and to me and to all your friends, your family. Because I think sometimes, I don't know about you, my faith wavers. One of my favorite prayers is, "Dear God, I believe, but please, please help my unbelief." Dear God, I believe, but boy, there's so many things in this church of ours I doubt. It's a good thing that our dear and beloved Pope Francis initiated a year of hope this holy year. And wasn't it good? He was on a balcony this morning. He was saying hello. He said, "Where's the pasta? They don't feed me pasta in this hospital," he said. Year of hope. This gospel is about you and me. It's because sometimes, because we're so beautifully human, we lose hope. Isn't it amazing? This coming Tuesday, we celebrate the Feast of the Annunciation. What a wonderful, wonderful message, profound message of hope. Things are beginning to happen. God writes straight with crooked letters. He goes to Nazareth, and a messenger appears to whom? A great theologian, a great prophet? No. To a beautiful little teenage girl. He says, "You're going to be the mother of God, mother of Jesus." This is the beginning. This is the beginning of redemption. And if we don't understand redemption, then we are not people of hope. I want you to think of your grandmother, or maybe your great-grandmother, or maybe your great-great-grandmother who came from Europe. And somebody had to come from Europe unless you're a Native American, unless you're the tribe of a Cherokee, a Navajo, Shoshone, the Sioux. If you're not, your grandparents came from another country. Can you imagine these people leaving their family, leaving their land, everything they owned, everything they loved, everything they were comfortable with, and getting on a boat and not knowing where this great nation or wherever they were going, whether it was Argentina, Brazil, the United States? I recently was reminded by one of my cousins back in Boston. She's working on the genealogy of our family. And she mentioned that my grandparents came from a little town in Avellino. And on that boat, probably left from Genoa, grandparents were carrying a little girl, 5 years old, who eventually became our mother, and eventually became the mother of 9 kids back in Beantown, Boston. Can you imagine getting on a boat, not knowing where you're going to go? Not knowing what's waiting for you? Not knowing if it's the United States that you're going to make it big, like my parents didn't, that's for sure. They were people of hope. They were people of faith. They were people of perseverance. They wanted a better life, a new life, not only for themselves, but for you and me, their offspring. These were people of hope. That's what that gospel is all about. We got to be people of faith. Got to be people of hope. I want to tell you a little story, you people we call the elect. Raise your hands. I want to see how many are here this morning. The elect. Raise your hands. How many? What is there, 40 of them? Wow. Huh? Spirit's working here. Now listen. There's this gal who writes for America Magazine. Best Catholic magazine in the United States. Her name is Valerie Schultz. She went through a tough period of hopelessness, depression, lack of faith, didn't know where she was going, didn't know where she was coming from. She was depressed about the world in which we live, society, religion, politics, etc., etc. And in her article, she decides to crawl into a shell and don't be concerned about anybody. Let them take care of themselves, she said. Then she remembered, and this is a salient point for you people who we call elect. She says, I don't have that luxury to crawl into a shell. I don't have that luxury. I am a Catholic Christian. I am called, I am commanded to feed the hungry, to give drink to the thirsty, clothe the naked, care for the sick, visit the prisoner, make a difference. Somebody once asked me, well, how do I visit the prisoners? I don't like to go to the prison. I don't like to go up there, Indian Springs. I have a friend up there in Indian Springs. He's been there for 27 years. He's there for the rest of his life. You know who he is. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to remind you. So I write him once in a while. One time I got real angry at him. He wrote back. I says, you know, Geronimo, that's not his name. I said, you should write more often. You know what he told me? This guy's in there for life. You know what he told me? He says, I don't have much time. What? You're there for life? He doesn't have time. I thought it was pretty funny. You didn't think so? Okay. 27 years I've befriended this young man. He went in there and was 19 years old. He's 47 years old now. We are called to be people of hope, people of faith. That's what you're called to. This is a tough business. Someone once said, how dare, how arrogant you are to die without making a difference in this world. Powerful words. This call comes directly from Jesus Christ. Every time we receive the Eucharist, we should think of that call. Every time we see a baptism, we should think that's what that call is all about. So Valerie says, I cannot crawl into a shell in her article. I cannot withdraw from participation working with people. I cannot ignore our common home, the earth. I'm called to do everything I can to mitigate harm in our world. That's what a Christian is supposed to do. And that's what the gospel tells us. Don't get despondent. Don't get hopeless. I am very patient with you, God says. And don't forget, God isn't done with us yet. So there are people all around us, manifesting hope the courage and the grace to begin over and over and over again. Think of the California fires. These people that lost so much. That whole episode reminds me, I don't know about you, reminds me of the fragileness of life. Our struggles, our challenges to uproot our lives in an instant, to begin all over again. That's what your ancestors did. They were people of hope. They came over in steerage, probably didn't see the sun for 2 weeks. I don't know how long it took. People of hope, people of perseverance. You've got to remember that gospel is saying, if we read in between the lines, God is always present. God is always present. God is, as Chardin says, God is entangled in our lives. And as Augustine says, God is with me more than I am with myself. These beautiful concepts. I should be a hopeful person. Do my best to make things right, to help wherever I can help. Let us remember, grace is everywhere. Think of that. Grace is everywhere.